Pushkin. Hey, Deep Cover listeners, this is Jake, and as we speak, we are busy working on a season 2 of Deep Cover. It's really coming together, and I can't wait for you to listen to it. With any luck, it'll be ready for you to hear in the fall. But in the meantime, I want to tell you about a new podcast from a friend of mine named Dana Goodyear, and it's really intriguing. It's called Lost Hills. It's a new show from Pushkin, and it's about a murder in, of all places, Malibu, California. It's the horrifying story of a man shot in the head in 2018 while camping with his young daughters. After his death, the local cops follow a crumb trail of clues and arrest a survivalist they find camping in the woods. And that's when things get really complicated. Lost Hills is a shocking mystery that uncovers the dark truth about law enforcement in Malibu, California. Okay, here's a taste of the first episode.
Here's what I know when I start all this. It's not a lot. It was before sunrise, June 22nd, 2018, and the campground at Malibu Creek State Park was packed. It's an idyllic spot. Campsites are arranged in a ring around a large meadow dotted with oak trees. Jagged peaks zigzag across the open sky. It was 4 a.m, still dark. Everyone was inside their nylon tents and RVs, cozy in their sleeping bags for a couple more hours. But someone was awake, watching, silent, undetected, slipping shadow-like around the sleeping campground. He had a gun, and he fired it directly into one family's tent. Inside the tent was a man named Tristan Beaudet, a brilliant young research scientist, 35 years old. He was sleeping beside his 2 little girls. The bullet struck his forehead, killing him. And whoever did it slipped away into the darkness. It's like a story that's meant to terrify you, playing on your deepest fears, a story you'd tell around a campfire, with ghosts and murderers and things you can't explain. Except that this story is true. And once I heard it, I couldn't stop thinking about it. How did this happen? How does anything like this happen? In Malibu, of all places. But it did happen in Malibu. And as I'd come to find out, inexplicable, nightmarish things happen in Malibu all the time.
Tonight, a mystery in Malibu.
The driver found a man dead in a ditch along Las Virgenes Canyon Road.
There have also been 9 additional calls for shots fired.
I just don't feel safe anymore.
Breaking now, a homicide investigation.
We do have a nude body, and it's still unclear exactly how it got here.
It is a suspicious death.
The human bones were just a half mile from the trailhead.
We could possibly hear somebody screaming for help.
Detectives tonight trying to figure out who he is and who killed him.
I'll tell you what, they'll be standing with pitchforks outside Lost Hills Sheriff's Department.
I said to her, I hollered down, "Are you all right?" She said, "I'm just resting," or something like that. Once she left, she just disappeared.
After Tristan Beaudet's death, it came out that there had been a series of crimes that were kept hidden from the public. People were being targeted in and around Malibu Creek State Park. Beaudet was not the first victim. For 2 years before the brutal murder, there was a series of shootings. One person was injured, but no one died. These were near misses, 6 of them. I'm 1,000 feet above Malibu, in a helicopter, with Chewie Wright, a retired sergeant detective from Lost Hills Station. That's a small outpost of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, and it covers law enforcement for this whole area.
It's a beautiful area. It's a wild area with some rugged terrain. Sunsets are beautiful. Out there is Point Doom.
We head inland, over the mountains, following Malibu Canyon Road.
This is Malibu Canyon going in here. The highway goes along the canyon.
And there's Malibu Creek State Park. It's wild and pristine. Volcanic rocks, oak savannas, undulating grasslands. If you remember the opening sequence to the 1970s TV show MASH, where the helicopter flies past craggy green peaks, that's Malibu Creek State Park. But Sergeant Chewie Wright sees something different. He sees the killing zone.
Dana, I'm thinking you might, just to keep it simple, we might start with the shootings and then move to the burglaries and then move to the capture. Does that sound okay to you?
That sounds like a great sequence.
Below us is a picnic spot, Tapia Park, at the edge of Malibu Creek State Park. That's where, in November 2016, a backpacker named Jimmy Rogers was shot, hurt but not killed, while sleeping in a hammock slung between 2 trees. Near miss number 1.
Over here in the park, down in the campground there, is where the next 2 incidents occurred.
Less than a week later, and about a mile away, in the campground where Bodette was later killed, a man was shot at while inside his camper. Near miss number 2. 2 months later, in January 2017, there was another shooting in the same campground, this time at a couple sleeping in their car. Near miss number 3.
Let's talk about the highway shootings.
Then, in the summer of 2017, the target seemed to change, to moving cars driving along the canyon road. In the span of a few weeks, first a white Porsche and then a white BMW were hit with gunfire. Near misses 4 and 5. Sergeant Wright's theory is that a shooter lay in wait, firing on approaching cars.
It's a good elevated position where you have immediate cover and an immediate escape direction.
The shootings in the park and on the canyon road were totally bizarre events, rhymes with no reason. They all happened at the same time, around 4 a.m., each one involved a single shot. But after near miss number 5, things went quiet. 11 months passed without another shooting. Until June 18th, 2018. Early that morning, around 4 a.m., in the same area, a Tesla, a white one, was hit in the hood. Near miss number 6. And 4 days after the Tesla was shot, Tristan Bodette was killed in the campground.
When you got the call that there'd been a shooting at the campground,
Yes.
It wasn't out of the blue for you. I'm just putting myself in your shoes and thinking you must have had a sinking feeling because there had been a series of incidents leading up to that moment.
Yeah, that is true, and this was our greatest fear, that this was a serial shooter, and that eventually he would hit somebody and or kill them.
So Sergeant Wright is saying that privately, law enforcement worried there was a potential serial killer at large. They thought he was looking for victims, and that Malibu Creek State Park and the Canyon Road were his hunting ground. In the weeks after Bodette was killed, all through that summer of 2018, I kept hearing that everyone in Malibu was panicking. The situation seemed out of control. There was a murderer at large, and residents kept calling 911, reporting the sounds of gunfire in the night. Tristan Bodette was dead. Who would be next?
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, I just woke up to a gunshot outside.
And you just heard one gunshot?
No, it's 4 or 5.
I just heard another one while you put me on hold.
Okay, I'm going to put you back on hold. Don't hang up.
Yeah, there was a third one.
The third one. Okay, so...
Yeah.
Despite the panic, the sheriff's department was insisting that things were under control. They kept putting out press releases saying that the crimes were isolated and unrelated. Quote, "Homicide detectives are advising, at this time, there is no evidence to suggest the past shootings are related to the June 22, 2018 homicide." Unquote. There was no press conference, and the park remained open. Neighbors didn't think the authorities were taking their concerns seriously. Did anyone even want to solve these crimes? Finally, in August, State Senator Henry Stern called a public safety meeting, the first since all this started.
We're here today because many of you, including myself, have serious concerns.
That's Senator Stern.
We need to take our land back, and we can't cede these mountains to any kind of violence or fear. We don't want to be known in this region for these kinds of incidents. We don't want to be defined by this, and we certainly don't want to live in fear.
He asks a detective named Lieutenant James Royal to speak on behalf of Lost Hills Station.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Okay.
He's been the community liaison to Malibu for years. People trust him.
Our primary objective today is to share with you as much information as possible without jeopardizing our case. What I'd like to do first is discuss the exact dates of the actual shooting events, confirmed shooting events that we've been dealing with since November 3rd of 2016 and culminating on June 22nd of 2018 with the tragic death of Mr. Bodette.
He states the department's official position. Detectives haven't established a connection between any of the near misses and the murder, and the newly reported shots may or may not be related to the near misses, the murder, or to each other.
I really want to reassure you that that this investigation did not start on June 22nd. However, we still cannot confirm that the series of events are related forensically.
It just seems crazy. A specific area of the park and the Canyon Road are being targeted repeatedly. People keep hearing shots. What law enforcement's saying isn't calming anybody down. It doesn't even seem true.
I just want to thank everyone who came out from the community, especially to take time.
What was going on in Malibu? Was there a potential serial killer on the loose? Why would the cops be hiding it? How did Malibu turn into the killing zone?
Intrigued? You can hear the rest of the episode by searching for Lost Hills wherever you're listening right now.